Hi, welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, and look who is back. Insider Brian Windhorst, and back from vacation, seven-time All-Star Tracy McGrady has graced us with his presence. He looks relaxed. He looks happy. Everybody gets DNP rest once in a while around here. It's good. All right, guys, it is hard to pound your fist on the desk these days and insist that defense wins championships with the way the NBA's rules have changed, the explosion of scoring. But here's what I do know. Can't win a championship if your defense stinks. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are dangerously close to that at the moment. You know who has a better defensive rating than the Cavs this season? Yep, the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's looking at the numbers over the entire year. If you look at how the Cavs are playing right now since the All-Star break, it gets even uglier. They are ranked 29th. That's in a league with, 30 teams. And that last team is the Lakers, who are actually trying to lose, so I'm not sure they even count. Last night, the Cavaliers gave up 73 points in the first half. Take a look here as they decide that Gary Harris, who's shooting, more than 40% from three, he just doesn't need anyone guarding him, guys. Yeah. Or this play in the second quarter, which should really be an after-school special called When Defensive Switching Goes Wrong. Boom. And back in. The stats say that no NBA team in the past 20 years has won a title playing D like this, and LeBron James knows it. After the game, he called his teammates out.
It ain't about a group, it's about individuals. Everybody got to just be more, just do more. It ain't about no group. You can't preach toughness. You got to have it. Oh, me, personally? I had opportunities where I could have been better. The one thing about it, I'm always bringing toughness to the game. I know that's for sure.
A few locker stalls down, Tristan Thompson said he thinks he's partly responsible for some of what's missing here. Now, certainly at times this season, Thompson has looked worn down, and really that's where Andrew Bogut's injury has hurt the Cavs. Bogut was never going to be a prime part of the team's playoff rotation, but they did want his rim protection and, frankly, just his minutes to help Thompson catch his breath a bit. Matthew Dellavedova taking his peskiness to Milwaukee, that isn't helping either. But still, let's face it, even as currently constructed, Cleveland is still an excellent team. They should be better at this. They should at least be trying to be. So, guys, is it time to sound the alarm? You're looking at that Gary Harris highlight, and your face was like, what is happening over there?
No, it's not time to sound the alarm. I mean, we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the defending champions. These guys get bored with the process throughout the season.
That's all you think it is?
That's all it is. I think once they get to the playoffs, LeBron James will have his troops ready to buckle down and defend and execute defensively, offensively, and apply the pressure that they need to go make a good playoff run.
Rachel, they're such a veteran team, and they've now looking to try to make a third straight finals run, that my perspective and my history around the league says don't freak out about it. Defending champions in the past, you go back to the 88 Lakers, they were terrible defensively during the year, kicked in gear. 95 Rockets, terrible defensively during the year, kicked in gear. Then the one everybody always talks about, 2001 Lakers were a terrible defensive team, 15-1 in the playoffs. So I look at it and go, you know what, I'm not going to overreact. That said, again, I've been around long enough to know that when you build habits in the season, those carry you in the playoffs. And if you don't have good defensive habits, that can show up later on.
What I will say is I'm not worried about them playing this way in the Eastern Conference to get through. But if they continue to play this way and make it to the finals, they won't win a championship.
This is really an indication that they're not afraid. Right? They're not afraid of anybody. They don't wake up in fear of anybody. Like, what are they going? And by the way, LeBron shouldn't be taking shots at anybody. I don't think it's fair to maybe ask more of him. His defense this season has been horrific. It's been the worst defensive season.
That's a strong statement.
So it's been the worst defensive season of his adult life. It's in a lot of other ways, it's his best defensive season. He is not giving the effort on the defensive end. Last night, he had a couple possessions where he was just embarrassing on the defensive end. Now,
James Harden-ish?
At times. Now, part of it is he's asked to do so much, and he's asked to give so many minutes. I think he's making a business decision. I'm not taking a personal criticism of him. I think he's doing what he thinks he needs to do to save his energy. But he is part of the Cavaliers' problem.
And that's really, to me, the stretch when you guys talk about, oh, gee, I'm not, it's not a nightmare. It's not terrible that this is happening. it is that little bit, though, that makes the difference in a conference finals or final situation. We are not talking about the Cavaliers are playing such bad defense. They might not survive the first round of the playoffs. Nobody is saying that. But you have to be exceptional to win a finals. You have to be exceptional to compete in a finals.
Top 2 defensive teams in the league, Spurs and Warriors.
And the Warriors, Ethan Strauss tweeted this morning, are better since KD left the floor, which nobody expected, which is kind of crazy. All right, we, by the way, do have to show the weirdest moment of that Cavs-Nuggets game from last night. Vic Lombardi of the Altitude TV network that airs Nuggets games locally decided he was going to heckle LeBron while they were both working last night. Take a listen.
On a 9-2 run as we check in with Vic Lombardi.
The key here when you sit up front is the proper trash talk. Hey, LeBron! LeVar Ball called. He says he can beat you one-on-one. Yeah, that's what I thought. Give it up. You got no chance. Bro.
He was just doing shtick.
Yeah. I'm going to take a drink.
Shtick's supposed to be funny, no?
That wasn't funny at all.
Let's get to the team chasing the Cavs for the top seed in the East. If you haven't looked at the standings lately, Boston is just one game behind Cleveland for the top spot. The Celtics have 10 games left. The Cavs have 12 games to go, so that skews it a little. But let's take a look at Boston's chance. This is courtesy of 538. The Celtics have a 54% chance. That means better than average of finishing first in the East for that top seed. You see this is legit? Do you think that they're going to finish number one?
Absolutely. They have the easiest schedule in the East. The Cavs have one of the hardest schedules in the East. And the Cavs don't really care about that number one seed. But I will say this just to point this out, because the Celtics want this number one seed. They feel like they have a great home court advantage, and they do. LeBron, when he's been the 2 seed, has never lost a series in the Eastern Conference. He's undefeated, 4-0. 4 times he's been number 2, 4 times to the finals. When he's been the number 1 seed, he hasn't been as good. He's actually, the last 2 times he lost in the Eastern playoffs, he was the 1 seed. So the seeding to LeBron does not matter.
I think they get it.
You think the Celtics?
Yeah, I think they will get it, but does that really mean they will overtake, the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference?
Team, no.
Right. So, again, I agree with you. I don't think Cleveland necessarily needs this number 1 seed, but I don't think the Celtics have enough to overtake.
You don't think it's going to matter?
It's actually a 3-game lead right now because it's one game.
2 in the loss column.
2 in the loss column,
Right.
and currently they have the tiebreak.
And they have that's a lot of ground to make up. I mean,
by the way, you guys might not care. LeBron might not care. I want to see that 1-8 Cavs Heat matchup, especially after those recent Pat Riley comments. So
For sure.
I care. I would like them to hold on to the number 1 seed only because of what it would do in the first round. Although the Celtics, of course, playing great basketball, it's nice to see that rewarded. And from the best to, well, I'm not going to say the worst, but the Knicks are close. Coach Jeff Hornacek saying the Knicks will be playing pure triangle from the start of training camp next year. Remember, Kristaps Porzingis has already said he likes the triangle. Carmelo Anthony, well, he does not. Tracy, what do you think? Is this the right call?
I blame my producer for having this segment a part of this show.
Producer Steve, the Knicks fan.
I don't. Again, I go back to the personnel. Like I heard Shaq the other day say, yes, the triangle worked, and it was about the others that elevated them to the next level. Well, this is a very young team. They don't have the basketball IQ that those guys had that Shaq played with, the Rick Foxes and, Robert Horry. I don't like it. I don't like it for them.
Rachel, you should never go full triangle. Never advise.
I think you
need help.
I think you allow your head coach to establish his own identity on his team, not implement coming from the top.
That is definitely worrisome.
I'm going to counter-argue, though, that maybe they just need to get out of their system. Maybe they just go full triangle. And if it's a disaster, Phil stands by what he did and moves on if it doesn't work. And if it works, great. He gets all the credit.
How many years are we going to
But we can't go halfway. Let's not be half pregnant, right? Like either go for it, do it, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, move on. Because you can't just keep almost pushing this on everyone.
I know, but you're trying to get Carmelo Anthony, if he's still present on his team, to all of a sudden change his style of play. Like all he knows is ISO basketball.
It's the smart way to play, but I am done with watching them sort of, maybe we will, maybe we won't. That's not helping Carmelo either. If you want to go for it, go for it. Everyone has a right to run their team the way they think they should run their team. Try it, run it. If it doesn't work, leave. Let somebody else give it a try. There you go. Got to take a quick break.
Tonight, you get another triple-double. Perfect from the field, perfect from the free throw line. The first player ever to do that. Thoughts on that?
That's pretty interesting. Made some easy shots. Jimmy made me look good, but just happy and able to play with my teammates. They make my job easy. And I try to take my time tonight and be focused on every single shot and every play.
Welcome back to the jump. Perfect reaction, perfect game. It was good. All right, let's move on. Tom Haberstroh's piece for ESPN, the magazine's upcoming analytics issue. And before your eyes glaze over at the word analytics, let the music soothe your soul. Because yes, this article is about sex. Tom says dating apps are actually helping teams play better on the road. Why? Well, when an NBA player can order up, let's just call it a date, to his room, that means he's not spending lots of extra time in the clubs or bars or gentlemen's establishments during road trips. An anonymous NBA general manager told Tom, quote, it's the Tinderization of the NBA. Yes, Tinderization, like the dating app. No need to go to the clubs all night anymore. And this from an anonymous former all-star, go figure, says no schmoozing. No going out to the club. No having to get something to eat after the club, but before the hotel.
I hate that.
He also added he prefers Instagram to Tinder. Tracy.
Another former NBA.
Of course you come to me first.
Speaking of former NBA All-Stars, Tracy McGrady.
No offense. Yes, I'm coming to you first.
I mean, it may help some guys, stay away from TMZ that are, quote unquote, in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And stay out of trouble.
I mean, this is really, look, it's an analytics article. It's basically saying you are cutting out 2 hours out of your night by being able to go straight to the chase.
It's a bunch of young guys, man. I don't
You think they're going out anyway?
Absolutely, these guys are going out. Their dream is to make it to the NBA and live this lifestyle. So why? Yes, social media is taking over this era, and there are, apps that you can get on and log on and have something delivered to your room. So where you can have a nice night in. But I don't buy it. These guys still going out.
The reason Tom started looking into this is because the home court advantage in the NBA is shrinking.
Right.
Road teams are performing better than they have in decades. And that's why he's like, why? And this is one of the reasons. There are other reasons. You mentioned TMZ. Players don't like to go out and be caught on camera. Just camera phones. Also, just better conditioning,
right,
better nutrition, everything like that. I mean, officiating is getting better.
So it just closes the gap, is what you're saying.
But I think is it a 6% reason, 12%? I don't know, but it's in the portfolio.
There, ordering something and drinking Pepsi.
In next week's issue, we'll explore. No, we're not going to explore. Anyway, let's talk about the Pistons because maybe the Pistons need Tinder. They need something to help them. The Pistons got beat by the Bulls last night by 22 points. It was their 5th loss in 6 games. And afterward, head coach / GM Stan Van Gundy voiced his frustrations.
This is 6 bad games in a row. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me that, 6 games ago we were playing okay and at 500 and now not even competitive. Man, I mean, it's just not one position either. I mean, we're just not playing. I mean, we're not. I thought that, we're just bad all the way.
Hey, if the coach don't have an explanation for it, what the hell do we got?
Right? Don't ask the president.
I like when they have the camera phone up, so it's 2 angry Stans, right, in the frame. I mean, Brian, he's the GM. He's buying the groceries, as Bill Parcells used to say. So who's to blame here for the fact that they were going to be a 4th or 5th seed this season?
Yeah.
They're not even in the playoffs right now.
A lot of excitement for this year. Stan hates this team.
He put it together.
I know. I mean, but you can just see the way
talent, though.
You can just see the way he talks about them. Also, at the trade deadline, he was offering half of them in trades, which is one thing if you're the coach and you're the president. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of that guy. I want to get rid of this guy.
Listen, it is bad when you sign a guy to an $80 million contract and he doesn't become your starting point guard.
He's talking Reggie Jackson.
I'm talking Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Ish started last night, right?
And Ish is damn good for this club. He makes them go a little bit better. But these guys, it seem like there's no chemistry amongst them at all.
Oh.
I had them being a top 4 seed because of the talent that they have. I think they already kicking it to Cancun.
Oh, man. I mean, this is supposed to be when you're supposed to get the highest level of play. They're fighting, even though they don't have maybe the best chemistry, to get beat in a game with the team they're fighting with for the 8th seed in Chicago last night to not be competitive is a big-time red flag.
Without two of their key guys.
Is this another strike against coaches being GMs in the NBA? Is it just maybe too much to do both?
Other than Popovich, it hasn't exactly worked beautifully.
Popovich has R.C. Buford, though.
Yes, for sure, and he'd be the first to admit that. You know, in Atlanta, there's been some discord. Their moves have been inconsistent. Doc Rivers has struggled at times with the general manager role, and they've brought Lawrence Frank in and some other people to help him with that job. I wouldn't say that Tom Thibodeau's first year of free agent moves
being both
were exactly a home run. I mean, he's still very early, way more time to judge him there. But all in all, and I understand why they want to do it. All these coaches were getting fired. You can't fire you if you're the boss,
right.
But I don't know if it's the best way to go.
I don't know. You weren't trying to be the trainer also when you played, so sometimes it's better to have one job. I don't know. Bill Livingston from the Cleveland Plain Dealer thinks the voting for MVP should happen after the postseason. He recently wrote, "The regular season is the orchestra's overture, not the concert." Meanwhile, look, it's the regular season award. We award a finals MVP. Tracy, what's your take?
I mean, it's just simple for me. It's two separate seasons, obviously, because if you were to tell me that my total points throughout the playoffs go on to my regular season points, then I include that as being one season. But my playoff points doesn't carry over to my career points. So I see it as separate seasons.
You're like, bring me the points, and then we'll talk.
I'm fighting back on this devaluing of the regular season.
Okay.
The regular season matters. Does it matter first? No. But they play 82 games for a reason. To make money. But also because they're trying to make a point and trying to establish a hierarchy. There's something that happens every night in this league that's special. Last night, Russell Westbrook, perfect, triple-double. Rudy Gobert scores 35 points on like 12 shots last night. Every single night in the NBA, something cool happens. And the concept that the regular season doesn't matter is not true, and I don't think any of us should buy into it, including the people that vote for the award.
It doesn't make sense because you can have a guy that hasn't really played well throughout the regular season, but he gets hot in the postseason and have an unbelievable postseason. Now you're going to name him the MVP?
Right. Well, I mean, look, I think there's some grappling right now because people are looking at this current MVP race, these 4 qualified guys, and they're just trying to figure out where do we get separation. I'm here to help you and tell you where to get separation. Split the MVP race. I don't know. Have you heard me say this before? Yes, you have. We should be talking about who had the best season. You could compare Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And who is the best all-around player? You can compare the two gentlemen on the other side of the screen. This is, if we're going to make a change to the MVP, I'm going to say it again. You're going to hear me talk about it loudly for the next 3 weeks. We should be splitting the MVP into 2 separate awards. The NFL has 2 separate awards. They have Best Offensive Player and MVP. The NHL has both.
Can one guy win both of those awards?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You could both be the best all-around player and have the best season. But the best all-around player should go, the MVP, that should go to the best all-around player, the Jordan Award.
About 10 of those.
And there should be a
Rachel, you have the clout. You can just award your own best player, and then it'll become a thing.
Ooh, I see a trophy coming up. We already awarded Kyrie Irving a best handles with a bike handle.
Oh, very good.
Trophy, so we could work on that. I'm telling you, this is going to happen, people. We have to take a break. Published reports indicate Spurs assistant Becky Hammon, a finalist for the head coaching job with the Florida women's basketball team. Tracy, should she hold out for an NBA head coaching job or take this?
No, I think she take this job, get some experience under her belt, and see how she, can gel together with putting together talent and see how she do on a collegiate level before she step up to the
If she does want to be in the NBA, this is a way to make her resume better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say stay on Pop's staff. Everybody wants the Spurs magic golden touch. There's a whole bunch of female coaches at the college level. She's distinct at being the only female assistant coach in the NBA. Stay at the Spurs, get the experience there. She's coached Summer League. She's won Summer League being a head coach in the Summer League. Continue to do that. And that way she will get moved on to the next level in the NBA. And you can show that, as an NBA assistant coach, you can show that NBA players respect you. You can't show that on the college level. All right, make or miss. Miss humility. John Wall celebrated a Bradley Beal 3 before it went in last night. Why does this keep happening to NBA players?
It actually went in this time. So.
Stay off the Shaq and a fool. That should be a goal of every player every night.
I mean, it did go in, Tracy. Well, wait. No, yeah, that was the Kemba Walker.
See, well, he'll never live that down. That's why
Right.
you don't do it. You do it, and it goes in, nobody remembers.
All right, make imagination. Shout out Mike Goldfarb for finding this on Twitter. A Hungarian basketball player opted to dunk instead of shooting a free throw.
Well, he's thinking about
Do you feel like this is going to catch on, T-Mac?
Hell no.
What? By the way, everybody's just standing around. They're like, what the heck? There's got to be an incredible backstory.
What did I
Right?
just witness?
Does he get 1 point of that matter, too?
It's not bad. Come on.
That's a fine, yo.
Happy birthday, Jason Kidd. Shout out to
Kidd,
these
happy
guys
birthday.
for
Hall
joining
of
me.
Famer.
We'll be back tomorrow. Hi, welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, and look who is back. Insider Brian Windhorst, and back from vacation, 7-time All-Star Tracy McGrady
Looks
has
so
graced
relaxed
us
and
with
happy.
his presence.
Yeah.
He looks relaxed. He looks happy. Everybody gets DMP rest once in a while around here. It's good. All right, guys, it is hard to pound your fist on the desk these days and insist that defense wins championships with the way the NBA's rules have changed, the explosion of scoring. But here's what I do know. Can't win a championship if your defense stinks. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are dangerously close to that at the moment. You know who has a better defensive rating than the Cavs this season? Yep, the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's looking at the numbers over the entire year. If you look at how the Cavs are playing right now since the All-Star break, it gets even uglier. They are ranked 29th. That's in a league with, 30 teams. And that last team is the Lakers, who are actually trying to lose, so I'm not sure they even count. Last night, the Cavaliers gave up 73 points in the first half. Take a look here as they decide that Gary Harris, who's shooting, more than 40% from three, he just doesn't need anyone guarding him, guys. Yeah. Or this play in the second quarter, which should really be an after-school special called When Defensive Switching Goes Wrong. Boom. And back in. The stats say that no NBA team in the past 20 years has won a title playing D like this, and LeBron James knows it. After the game, he called his teammates out.
Man, it ain't about a group, it's about individuals. Everybody got to just be more, just do more. It ain't about no group. You can't preach toughness. You got to have it. Oh, me, personally? I had opportunities where I could have been better. The one thing about it, I'm always bring toughness to the game. I know that's for sure.
A few locker stalls down, Tristan Thompson said he thinks he's partly responsible for some of what's missing here. Now, certainly at times this season, Thompson has looked worn down, and really that's where Andrew Bogut's injury has hurt the Cavs. Bogut was never going to be a prime part of the team's playoff rotation, but they did want his rim protection and, frankly, just his minutes to help Thompson catch his breath a bit. Matthew Dellavedova taking his peskiness to Milwaukee, that isn't helping either. But still, let's face it, even as currently constructed, Cleveland is still an excellent team. They should be better at this. They should at least be trying to be. So, guys, is it time to sound the alarm? You're looking at that Gary Harris highlight, and your face was like, what is happening over there?
No, it's not time to sound the alarm. I mean, we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the defending champions. These guys get bored with the process throughout the season.
That's all you think it is?
That's all it is. I think once they get to the playoffs, LeBron James will have his troops ready to buckle down and defend and execute defensively, offensively, and apply the pressure that they need to go make a good playoff run.
Rachel, they're such a veteran team, and they've now looking to try to make a third straight finals run, that my perspective and my history around the league says don't freak out about it. Defending champions in the past, you go back to the 88 Lakers, they were terrible defensively during the year, kicked in gear. 95 Rockets, terrible defensively during the year, kicked in gear. Then the one everybody always talks about, 2001 Lakers were a terrible defensive team, 15-1 in the playoffs. So I look at it and go, you know what, I'm not going to overreact. That said, again, I've been around long enough to know that when you build habits in the season, those carry you in the playoffs. And if you don't have good defensive habits, that can show up later on.
What I will say is I'm not worried about them playing this way in the Eastern Conference to get through. But if they continue to play this way and make it to the